Ah, shit, we have to start over.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, that's okay. We can do this again. I got time.
Alright.
So, anyway, we tried to record when it wasn't recording. Anyway,
Yeah.
guys, hummingbirds, this is my good friend from Peak, a longtime friend. And he knew me back when I was nothing more than piss and vinegar and 23 years old. And one of those that you give her a challenge saying that she's too stupid for whatever reason, she would go and do it and show you otherwise.
Yes.
You remember that, right?
Oh, yeah.
I saw that. I
So,
got sick.
explain to me what Peak was like in the day. I keep on telling these guys what Peak was like and why I wanted to bring something like that to Edmonton.
Peak, basically Peak, for the participants or called clients and the staff was individualized so much that each client and each staff and participant were one-on-one. Everybody had a one-on-one staff member, and people went out, they drove around, they did flyers, they did gaylords, they were called, I guess, and they were, it's just a special word for, with paper boxes and stuff, and they did bales, and they had the lawn crew and snow crew. They had the thrift store, and we just got rid of that recently, and then
That was due to COVID, right?
yeah. Well, no, they couldn't support, and they just got rid of the lawn and snow care about 4 to 5 years ago because they wouldn't, they just couldn't make
Do
it.
you remember the POS trucks and vehicles they used to have?
Oh yeah.
God, I was always scared of getting into one of those because I was afraid, like, the engine was always better than the vehicle itself.
Yeah.
God, the old dually. The old dually, you remember that?
Oh, yeah,
The big blue truck?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that thing was so ready to fall apart. It barely had the brake system.
Oh, I know, it's
Do
crazy.
you remember the days when Peak used to be out in Hardyville?
No.
I was there. They had their own gardening center out there. When they first, like I came here just a few years after they started, and they were just nothing but stick in the mud, right?
Right.
And that was when I was fresh off the Greyhound. I was barely 23 and fresh and full of shit and out of a very bad relationship. And I came to Alberta, and that's when my life started to change. I had to live in Cardston and wait for myself to get on age because that took X amount of time, right?
Yes.
And I got myself set up with my mom's help and other people.
Yeah.
And I got onto PDD when it was all person-centered. Like, everything was so person-centered down here. It was not even fun. Anyone with a disability could get on.
Right.
And then a few years later, moving on, I had one too many workers tell me that I was too stupid for whatever reason, and I had to prove myself for whatever reason they gave me. And finally, one of them decided, "You're too stupid to drive." Yeah, I go out the next day and
You get your
really?
license.
Class 5
Got my
GDL,
keys.
yeah.
Here's the
you.
keys. Here's
Here's
the
my
wheels.
car, here's my license, go fuck
Yeah.
yourself. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
You remember that.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And then there's other times that some of the clients at Peak you had to have a lot of patience for. Tara had no patience for nobody. I remember.
The personal space, inappropriate behavior, inappropriate talk.
Do you remember how long it took me to
3
actually,
years.
yeah, give or take 3 years to tell Peak to either smarten up or I deal with it or you deal with it.
Yeah.
You're not going to like the way I deal with it.
Right.
One of us ended up wearing my temper. You're not my boyfriend. You're not married to me. You are not going to be my friend.
Yeah, that's right.
You remember me yelling at the poor guy, right?
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
remember
God.
that. Yeah.
You know, I mean, young, you don't have a lot of brains.
It's just kind of feelings were different.
Yeah, well, inexperienced.
Yeah, inexperienced.
And then the Kliene days came along. Oh my God, the nightmare from hell, you remember? All
I
over the
remember that.
news, dropping quarters at a shelter saying, go get a job.
Go get a
people."
job.
And then the Tribunes came to Lethbridge and all over southern Alberta. People came to this barely standing room, 700 people at this little tiny convention room at the lodge. And this spunk kid, me, stands up 300 to 700 people barely standing room. You remember it was barely
Oh
standing
yeah, I
room in that
remember.
place, right?
Standing room only.
And this was the Kliene panel that came to Lethbridge that day.
Yes.
And they were dictating basically what they were going to do to our programs,
Yeah.
how they were going to do it.
Right.
And they did that just to profess that they actually talked to us. No, they were dictating.
Yeah.
And I remember clear as day, I stood up, 23, full of piss and vinegar, mouthy,
Yeah.
no social skills whatsoever.
Yeah.
Standing up in front of these 300 people and telling them, this is what's going to happen, this is how it's going to be, and you destroy my age, you're going to destroy my friends, you're going to destroy the program that has helped me and is helping me, and all this wonderful shit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the standing ovation?
Oh, I remember the standing
Oh
ovation.
my
It was
God.
huge, just rah. Everybody was like, "This is just what we
Stupid
wanted to see."
23-year-old stands up. Guts and all.
This is what we wanted to say ourselves the whole time.
But
Every
you
single person in that room said we wanted to say that, and she said it. She had the guts, and she said it the way it should be said.
Yeah, you know, and then all hell broke loose with their age, PDD. 2006 rolled around. He changed that to where not only was it defunded, but it was also put so that people had to go through some kind of IQ test.
Yeah.
You had to be below 70 IQ, and so many people suffered because of it.
Right.
Where people like me and you ended up living on their own and being forced to have family and their significant others
Yeah.
face the cruel realities of having someone in your life with a disability, and you're
Right.
not trained as a worker like say some of the workers at Peak could do.
Right.
And now they're forcing people left, right, and center to be the worker when they don't have the schooling or the necessary. I mean, how necessary is it in your life to have someone that is accredited, trained through some college program to be
Yeah.
able to assess your needs for what they are?
That's really important to me, Tara. Important to everybody that is in the Peak Foundation or the Peak Quest and all those places. It's important that we can be assessed by a professional. My parents always say, I ask them, what should I do for a job? What should I do? I'm just going to do a little bit. Thanks, John. I asked my parents on the phone from BC, what should I do for a job? What should I do for this? What should I do for that? My parents say, talk to the professionals. They will be able to help you more than we can. Because we don't know what you need, but the professionals that know what you need are there to help you because you see them on a constant basis every day. At the time when it was a lot better, now it's a lot worse. So,
How did it get worse?
Well, the government funding, they cut that, and the stuff, the government funding that they had given extra, the $150 million to PDD, somehow has slipped through the government's hands in Alberta here, and it's just been, so where is all that money and what they did
How
with
is
it?
it being allocated?
I don't know where it's being allocated.
That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, that's what we'll want to know.
I mean, how many people do you think actually goes without any kind of help whatsoever now that things have been defunded or
Oh yeah.
put people at a disadvantage so
Or
that they don't get
IQ
help?
tests.
Yeah, that's exactly like the IQ test.
That's huge.
That's so wrong.
That is.
I mean, when you have a cognitive neurological disability,
It doesn't
IQ,
mean you have a bad IQ.
exactly.
That's what we've been trying to say.
Yeah, well, that's why we created Hummingbird up in
Yeah.
Edmonton, and it's gone Alberta-wide now, right?
And if you work for a year or more, you should be commended for working for a year. And if you need the support after the year is over and you go back on the stage program, then you should be able to go back on it.
So, in regards to changes and stuff, how's it impacted your life since the Kliene days?
Well, they upped it to $1,000 a month, and then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upped it to $1,000 a year. And then they upp 15, then they upped it to 1,600, but it's still not enough for us to live on the 1,600.
Did you face any of the earlier cuts that?
Oh yes.
Because I have friends up in Edmonton that are on PFE
Yeah.
and employment barriers,
Oh, I know.
and they had $300 cut right off their check,
Yeah.
or darn near. And a lot of my friends on AISH have lost about 30 to 60 or more dollars off their check, and some of those people have kids.
Yeah, I know.
I know of a single daddy right now with autism
Yeah.
on AISH who relies on his parents for financial stability because he couldn't, like me,
Yeah.
not able to bank very well. What
Yeah,
happens
me
if
too.
you get older and your parents are gone, or
Yeah.
your natural supports are gone, which our government expects people like you and me to
Yeah.
rely on to help
Funeral
us?
costs for one. Funeral costs for one. 2,500. That's enough to buy a casket, let alone get a funeral service done for you or
Then
anything
there's
like
the
that.
other end of that. How do you navigate a system made for neurotypical people? You know what I mean by neurotypical? Anything that's sitting around us today.
No.
Right? People that might not understand disability that is invisible or visible for them. I mean, what changes have happened to peak over the years? Have you found it like the companies that I've seen up in Edmonton where they all service more seen or visible needs?
Yes, that's correct. People that have cognitive or paranoia or mental disabilities are not treated the same as people with physical or really outlanded type of disabilities where they are apparent physically and
Yeah, you can actually see their
emotionally.
disability.
Yeah, but the people that are falling through the cracks is the people that have disabilities, certain cognitive disabilities.
Such as autism or learning.
Yeah, or learning, or ADHD, or
People like that.
paranoia, or depression, or mood disorder, or
Yeah,
bipolar, all that
everyone,
stuff.
Yeah, anything that's invisible.
Yeah.
So, in your, I guess, job finding skills, if you have any,
Yeah.
how has people treated you in regards to trying to find work? What have you been faced with by employers?
Well, I mean, sometimes for instance, when you have a job, they rely on you to do things that you are unable and skilled not to do. Like the employer wants you to do things that you're unskilled at, that you haven't learned yet, that you haven't asked about yet. And then for the opportunity to get a good job. And then on another hand, if you go on with your resume and people look at you and kind of, they just go, who's this? And
Have
like
they
once
ever-
they looked at your resume, they're like, man, he doesn't have a university degree, he doesn't have a college degree. He might have high school, but that's not enough for us. And how much experience does he have? Because he's had trouble getting jobs in the past, so his experience for job position is not there because he hasn't had enough employment in the past to be able to
What about job
differentiate. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Job experience. I do have a lot of job experience, but it seems like that doesn't matter to people. They want that person with university degree, college degree, or
They want 18 or 20 years experience.
yeah, that's right. You got it.
And no disability.
Yeah, that's right. And or trades, the trade school. Like, I mean, even the trade school, they say it's for people that may be less functioning, like the trade
I don't
school.
think so.
And I don't think so either. I think it's very hard.
Because if you have a cognitive ability,
Yeah.
disability, that is invisible, how do you add 1 plus 1 when you can measure your own finger?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, like,
Yeah.
how do you use measurement if you can't read them?
Yeah.
For me, when it comes to my invisible disability, What I found is that I do need accommodation and accessibility within certain environments. Unfortunately, my accessibility is not the same as, say, someone in a chair where they put a divot in the sidewalk, no problem. What about a divot in society in their understanding and their accessibility when it comes to the workforce? Because I might need a quiet room in order to function and generate.
take a test.
No, more like, for me, it's accommodation and concerns that I suffer meltdowns, big time. A meltdown is basically where my brain can't
Like
function.
it just stops.
Pretty much, and it's negative feeling.
You just had enough kind
Yeah,
of thing.
it stops.
That's enough, all you can take. Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
too much information, too fast, too soon, yeah.
Too much overload.
Yeah, and I have to go into my room and allow myself to get through whatever, and it might take 5 minutes, it might take none.
Right.
But nonetheless, I still need that accommodation. And employers by law say that you need 3 breaks. Well, why not take those breaks and allow me to augment them through the day so that I can actually augment my job so that it suits my need.
Right.
Like, I can do everything that anybody else can do, but unfortunately, I also need that. And I hate lunch.
Yeah.
It's too long. I'm too hyper. So I'd rather work right through lunch and just eat on the go, right?
That's exactly how I feel too. Exactly. I just I just want to pop. I don't have time to sit and look at my cell phone. I just want to pop, rest, have a smoke. For me, it'd be a smoke, and then go back to work. Like 20 minutes, not even. And then have my breaks, and that's
I
it.
do 5 minutes. You know, like, I don't like taking breaks, period. Not unless if my body says that, I'm sorry, but you can't.
Yeah.
And for me, that kind of accommodation means the world so that I can get through the day.
Yeah.
Having the right accommodations that are person-centered, dealing with work, environment, social skills, communication skills, like what I have. Autism and ADHD, it's really hard for a lot of people who don't get the necessary help to be able to ask for help on a job. I mean, if you have social skills, like I said, if you can't read body language, how do you ask for help?
Right.
How do you ask to do something if you're afraid to say the wrong thing because of who you are naturally?
Right.
And you've spent your whole entire life when people have said, I'm sorry, but your disability is not acceptable.
Yeah.
Basically, right? I mean, I feel that, especially in Edmonton, people's attitudes towards disability has gotten worse. I've suffered a lot of bigotry since. I've had friends forced into confinement by police, and all they were doing was sitting in the front. I've had friends self-harm. I've got a friend in the hospital because she tried to commit suicide 3 times during COVID already. I mean, this is what's going on in our community, and it makes you sad, doesn't it?
It does. Yes.
I feel like everyone since COVID, and especially since the UCP started with their attitude and their ideologies, that people have started to adopt their ideologies. And I've seen total hate for people with disabilities, especially in the
I
last
sure have to, Tara. I really have.
like, you have a disability, funny you don't look.
Yeah.
Insert rude remark, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's like you're bigotry against bigotry.
Yeah.
Like they're
They verbally attack you just because you need accommodation
Like,
somewhere.
they're biased against your disability and your disability.
Yeah.
They're biased because you have a disability, and they're biased about your disability.
Yeah.
Because they can't see it.
Yeah.
So they're biased for one, and then they're biased for 2.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, I just feel that if every town, every province had a place like Peak, how it was in the old days, not so much now. Because I heard a lot of bad things happening. Like, I'm actually very disappointed that Peak has started to go the way of more streamlined towards, say, let's fit everyone who has a disability into a room that might be on PDD, despite that they might be like you and me, right? So not only do people like you and me would have to dumb ourselves down to match the criteria, but
Yeah.
they're teaching people at, say, at the 2 to 7-year-old level, for which, do you know how boring that is to a 16-year-old, never mind a 16-year-old stuck in a 46-year-old body? Right? So, you know, I just feel totally dismayed to know that my favorite place that really helped me through the years has gone that road.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know if anyone at Peak has actually emotionally faced that or have seen it deteriorate in that sense. I mean, some of the workers have said certain things to me on that regard. Every time I come back, it gets worse. You know, what's your view on that?
My view is it's just getting, it's leaking, like going through the, well, there's people going through the cracks. We've always found that out. And there's more people going through the cracks, and there's more people that are being left out of the scenario when they should be directed into the right place for a job, and
Or the right place for actual communication,
yeah, communication.
social needs.
There's people that are well above, a little bit more oriented in their cognitive ability, and you know, like I was thinking a couple days ago, Tara, I says, you know what? I might have a good job sometimes. Like I've had some good jobs, have some bad jobs, but I'm not being used in the right way.
Yeah.
My talents are being, so people with disabilities, their talents are being wasted
Yeah.
because
They get handed
can't.
shit jobs.
Yes,
You know,
that's
and
what
there's
I'm
no
saying.
room for advancement.
That's right.
But what about the fact that some companies that supposedly help disability lumping you in one area and finding, have you ever found people going that way?
Oh yes, yeah, a lot more now lately in the last few
How
years.
so? How do you see that happening?
No, I see some guys doing janitor jobs.
What I mean
Oh,
by
okay.
when you do social programs,
Yeah.
like you go out into public, a lot of the programs that I've been to in Edmonton,
Yes.
they'll put you in a room and make you watch a video on life skills.
Right.
Peak
Yeah.
used to take you by the hand, put you into an environment like this that was so noisy that it would exacerbate
hard.
the whole anxiety issue or
Right.
the meltdowns because of your sensory levels, right?
Right. That's
Because
right.
your sensory has to do with the input coming into the brain. You get too much.
Yeah.
Welcome to autism.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you got it. You
And
bet.
I don't care what disability there is out there, everyone has a sensory issue.
Yes.
Right? So it may not be as apparent as, say, someone with autism, but I can tell you right now, for me, I feel pain every time I say so he was like,
Yeah, I do.
right? You might have autism.
But like a lot of people going through the cracks.
Yeah, and do you ever find that because you are higher
And
able,
favoritism.
yeah, you find yourself being, say, out here,
Yeah.
and you see someone that is a little bit more worse off due to the IQ testing. You're over here because you have a cognitive issue for which makes you Albert Einstein to this guy.
Yeah.
And this guy is getting taught all the things that you would need for the rest of your life, even though this guy will never, ever graduate a group home.
Yeah.
But yet, they want us all together because we're all the same.
Right, and that is not where we should be. We should be put into.
I'm good.
I'm good too, John.
But you found that, right?
I find that since they're lumped together, we all have to take the same path as each other, and that's why when Peak was individually set for each individual, when
It
Peak
allowed you to
started,
flourish.
it allowed you to flourish. Now it's like 3-on-1, 5-on-1, and everybody's got to go the same way as the
Yeah.
guy that's the turtle.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
does Peeps still have those group settings where
Yeah.
they would talk to you about social skills?
Yes.
Or how do you find that? Do you find that degrading?
yes,
Because you're not allowed to be your own autonomy?
yes, that's exactly.
Do you know what
right.
I mean by
Yeah,
autonomy?
autonomy, which is myself.
There you go.
Yeah.
do you ever find that, why am I here? Because I know I am better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I understand getting people like us to help people like that.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, but I'm in a different class than you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have the cognitive ability to understand what the hell is going on around you. And
Right.
you have the ability to understand that everything that is happening around you is wrong.
Yeah.
But yet, you have to be just like us.
Right.
Like one big lump of fruit where they might not understand even the word hello. And it's like you almost have to dumb yourself down just to fit the environment. And that's what's very dismaying. I mean, like, I have nothing against those people. They do need a lot more assistance and
Yeah.
help. But why should we have to dumb ourselves down just to suit?
Yeah, and it's not that we have to. It's us against them. It's the
It's a matter of
it's
where
the
we
social economics, the social services that has to be part us between that has to separate us between, because we need to be taught in a different way. Like another thing too, and this is for you guys at Pete. I'm taking a life insurance course right now. Why cannot Pete sit down here in the morning for an hour and help me learn how to do my life insurance? What they say, oh, we're not teachers.
They used to do that.
They used to do that for people.
They used to also help you with your banking.
Yeah,
If you couldn't develop the ability to,
they've banking skills, right?
yeah,
Budgets.
yeah, if you couldn't develop it at all, like me,
Yeah.
I'm literally crippled in that sense.
Okay.
I would need a worker to take over my account without taking over my autonomy like I used to
Yeah.
have.
Me too. Me too.
And it would have another bank account just for you to spend, right?
Yeah.
And when that was gone out of my life, I had to get my husband to rely on, because otherwise I'm fucked,
Yeah.
right?
That's
Is that,
That's not fair.
no, it's not. But yet, they also changed SACLA over a lot too. Like, I don't know if you're with SACLA or have been with
Now they're
SACLA.
terrible.
Oh, really?
They put zero into my bank account. They weren't even doing my funds. Oh, you can get this, you can buy that, you can buy this. My roommate was helping me with my checks. Oh, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this.
So-
And then he says, 2 months earlier, he says, you're going to be bankrupt in 2 months. And I said, are you sure? He says, yeah, maybe. And then I spent all my money, zero in my account.
So things
So,
have changed at SACLA.
All the stuff that SACLA was trying to help out with the budgeting, they just went to the wayside.
So they also went to more servicing people with severe needs.
Yeah.
And again, you're left to fend for
Fend
yourself.
for yourself. I agree with that too.
You know,
Not that I
like,
agree with it, but I agree with what you're saying. It is, that's exactly where it sits, right?
are you still in a roommate companion?
Yes. I mean, it's the best thing for me, but I
Would
love
you
it.
ever consider asking your roommate companion to take over the banking needs for you?
That's the problem. He had the banking needs over with me, and then they wanted the person that's taking care of my funds at SACLA to take over the funding, like take over my bank account. So she just did that, but now I got $0. It just happened to be that all the bills and everything. I had to get on the phone here this last week and talk to people that I had bills that I owed. Please put them aside, or I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to cancel that.
How was it when they changed over to the first of the month with me?
Well, what they did, they put my rent. They put my rent check to my roommate. He gets it directly
so it's
to him,
direct.
and then I got like a credit or whatever left.
What about your phone or anything of that nature? Because $1,600 isn't a lot
No.
if you really think about it, nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you got food, you got
Yeah.
everything, right?
That's right.
If you were in my position where you had to rely on your wits and your husband,
Oh.
I have no issue because my husband works, by the way, right? I have nothing to do with you.
Right.
So that's why I have hummingbirds.
Yes. Heather.
I don't have a worker to follow me around
Right.
because all Edmonton would give me when I was on PDD was this healthcare. Someone that is trained for seniors who don't have the ability to
Yeah.
work in nursing homes generally. I've been a caregiver, which is the same thing as an HCA healthcare. The only difference is that I don't have a freaking piece of paper to show that I know how to do all that shit, because it's a college program for healthcare aides. What I do know is because my mom was sick for many years. So I learned how to do what HCAs do at a very young age. HCAs are not trained for our cognitive abilities, so to say. They're trained to wipe your butt.
Yeah.
And
That's not good.
no, it's not.
It's not fair.
No.
It's not right.
I mean,
it's not equal.
if you had the perfect worker in the perfect situation, given your disability, what would that look like to you?
It would look like the lady that dropped me off to that you picked me up and took me up here. She is right now. She is exactly what I need.
You mean Angie Smith?
Well, Angie Smith, too. Angie Smith, too. There's Angie, she's great. But my new worker, Hannah, she's been awesome for me. She's helped me take around resumes. She says, whatever you want to get done on our shift, we can do.
Has she ever helped you with your cognitive deficits and concerns to communication or social?
Not much. So that's the thing that where I have to, like the life insurance, for instance.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. I would, like when I was going to Peak, I had a lot of skill sets where people actually helped me with my social abilities and communication abilities.
Right.
Even though I was quite vocal and mouthy.
Yeah.
There's a point of being social and communication when you have to go out in the real world and talk to people.
Yeah.
If you don't have tact, diplomacy, or soft skills, you're not a player.
Yeah, that's right.
Or it's hard to make friends because people think you're
Right, because you're swearing.
There's nothing, everyone swears. Tact, diplomacy, and soft skills means being able to tell a long ADHD story of why you're acting like a jackass without saying the word jackass.
Okay.
Basically, right?
Yeah.
In other words, being politically correct.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to
being,
get at myself.
And what happens if you have a cognitive issue for which makes you really blind to social abilities, like what is normal or classified as normal within society for which you can do. How do you navigate that and still be you without being told you're being inappropriate by some dumb schmuck that knows nothing about it?
Yeah, that's it.
The reality is that what people don't get about disabilities, it's different for everyone, and we can't just sit there and normalize whatever is coming along. Like, for instance, what the English language kids use nowadays, all those acronyms and whatever for like the new language barriers that I face. I grew up in the 80s, for God's sake. Some of the words that we used as kids,
Oh yeah.
and you say them now, you're slammed in jail, charged. People get insulted for you, even though you make fun of yourself. You ever find that?
Oh, I do.
Or, I've always been one to be kind of left field, right? Left field being dirty jokes, swearing, just not really following the herd.
Yeah.
I was the black sheep. And I will never be politically correct. I will never be the kind of woman that will be tactful and diplomatic. I'm out there, I am in your face, and I tell it like it is. And that's how I was raised, right?
Yeah.
How's that been for you, like, to learn new social skills and the things that society force upon us that we barely understand?
I went from like a really a really rude guy, lots of swearing, lots of, but every single word, not like you not every word you say is swear, but I was like all swear, everything like that. And they keep turning me around. This is how you communicate when you go for a job interview. This is how you communicate when your employer is asking you something. This is how you communicate when you're on the job.
How did they teach you if you were, say, trying to get a friend?
They were, they just kind of taught me some life skills about basic how you would get a friend and stuff like that.
And was it more ABA is applied behavioral stuff
Yeah.
that they force upon people with autism, and quite often it is, let's just put it this way, not exactly the best. They basically beat the autism.
Yeah.
It's let's give you a treat for good behavior that
Yeah.
we want you to have. So if you stand, like say, play with your fingernail or whatever,
Yeah.
constantly, because of whatever, it's a calming feature that us autistics do. But at the same time, that bad behavior, the applied, what they consider as bad, what we autistics do to calm ourselves, is considered bad by you. Now, that kind of behavior is normal in most autistics. Depending on the autistic, depends on what they do. And if they go through ABA, they will end up with other issues, such as depression or PTSD.
Yeah.
And that's why they have
Like veterans or military guys. Yeah. PTS.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one. But theirs is due to war, ours is due to a program.
Yeah. That's right.
Better known as therapy for some.
Yeah.
And it's not therapy, it's
That's therapy.
It's abuse.
Death therapy, shock therapy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing. But at the same time, the way Peak approached people when it came to social abilities, they taught you how to be without changing you or expecting you to be something different.
Right.
And that's what I really liked about Peak.
I like that too.
Has that changed any?
Well, yeah.
How?
There's the new stream of workers that come in as staff try to change the behaviors of clients a lot more than they did when we used to.
So
They
they
are
applied
younger.
ABA more so,
Yeah.
or what they would call applied therapies.
Yeah. And it's just like needle nosing,
Oh.
needle picking.
I hate that.
Yeah, needling people.
Have they tried it with you?
Yeah, and I just say, whatever.
Have you ever tried to stand your ground and say, hey, look, I don't like how you're approaching me on this?
Hard to say. I just try to let it go, but
Don't.
I do get mad once in a while. I
That's
get
your
really pissed
person.
off.
You have to stand up for yourself, buddy, because
Yeah.
if you don't, there's going to be like that on every single job.
I know.
And who you are, you shouldn't be forced to change who you are. Yeah, change the swearing if you don't like to less, whatever. But
Well, at Costco, for instance, when I got my job there, this was just a temporary job I had in July. And the guy comes in and he was acting like a big tough guy. He's all, where are you gonna put all those boxes? He's all, you're gonna have to get rid of them. I says, look, buddy. I says, my boss is Ontario. I said, you don't have anything to do with this. I said, and I stuck up for myself. And then he came up with a solution. He's like, well, we'll get someone to come and take this pallet away and go put it to the back. I says, that's fine. And then I played ball with him. But if I would have just let him take over, I would have not known how to do the boxes where I needed to put them, or I'd move them to one place and then move them back and move them one, and do all this work just because I was passive aggressive.
yeah, I mean, there's a point to standing up for yourself, and then
Being ignorant too.
you mean, blatant ignorant or being
just one girl or something?
like I'm out there naturally,
Yeah.
and I tell people, hey, like this is the way I am. I don't like it. Take the first exit. Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is a matter of being allowed to be yourself. You know, and sometimes you have to be the teacher to teach others, especially if they were never raised around or been around disability.
Right.
You're the one that has to live the lifestyle,
Yeah.
right? And I feel that I did Hummingbird more of these days to help people with disabilities get their stories out. And
Yeah.
you know, you've known me for years,
Oh yes.
and I think I've changed over the years because of different life experiences and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm still the same old Tara. Like, I don't think I've changed much.
Yeah.
Calmer maybe, but
Yeah.
just a little more boisterous. I mean, a lot of things have changed within our world that people don't realize. And the people with disabilities, they don't really talk about it. And maybe it's time they should. Do you agree? I mean, like, your life has changed so much, given the 5 days, how things have changed through means and cuts to services, and having the ability to have an ability. Without programs, do you think that you would be where you are now?
No, I would be like just like I hate to say left field because left field's always good, but like I would be in left field. Like I would be so far gone, I wouldn't even be able to know where I was at. I would still be drinking, drugging, whatever, you know, pills, taking pills,
So the day programs are actually
taking
really
bottles,
help.
walking in the streets.
So the day programs actually help people like us?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I feel. If I had something like PDD Edmonton, my life would be a lot better. I'd be employed.
Yeah.
You know, it took my husband to get me the job for being a manager of a building.
Yeah.
But I would like it so that if something should happen to those that I care about, should say pass on in old age, I want to know that I have a place in society where I'm being taken care of by proper workers, proper people, so that I don't have to worry. Because right now, my biggest fear is being homeless. Because I can't save money.
Yeah.
All I have after my husband is gone is my husband's pension.
Yeah.
That's not near what you get from your age.
And I'm zero right now. I'm zero.
In your account, but you still get
Both
age.
accounts, yeah.
You still
That's-
get age.
yeah.
I don't. I get nothing. I don't even qualify for age.
That's not right.
What it should do is keep people like us, if we choose to get married to a neurotypical, keep us on the back burner because relationships either degrade, die.
You know, like in BC, it's called gay. out there.
Yes, I know.
And
I
if
used
you're
to-
married, you get more money.
I know. I used to be more. Many years ago. I was 18, yeah.
How much did you get?
$8.50.
Was it a good enough?
I mean, the medical was good. They had no programs when I was living there. And then when Alberta decided to Amscray with most of the programs that I needed, BC started to go like this. Move forward. And they're talking person-centered programs in BC now.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they talking upping the amount of money for it? Or
Not
still
that I
not?
know of. All I know is that they're planning on bringing in better programs. They have one in Victoria that's similar to what Denmark is, where they have people like us in a home that is both senior and people with disabilities. And it's their own environment. Like it has stores, and it has restaurants, it has jobs for people like us within a community, basically. And they have basically a shared kitchen, and they also have self-sustained units.
Okay.
And all the proper workers that you need throughout your lifespan. If your disability changes, health changes, depending on your age and ability, depends on what you get. It's in Victoria.
That's awesome.
Guess what I might do? But nonetheless, that's what I was hoping to bring to Alberta.
Yeah.
I would love that here in Alberta.
Yeah.
So not only do you have your own environment, you also have a job within your own environment,
Right.
right? So you're giving people a chance to be independent, but you still have the workers there. You have your autonomy, you have a self-sustained unit, but, as in the basic stuff that an average household would have, but you have the choice of socializing with others, right?
Yeah.
Minus the seniors, because we'll become seniors one day.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, sure.
this place would be built basically to supply people throughout their whole entire adult life and have the proper accredited workers on the site as you age. So if you need an HCO, it's there. If you need a disability skills coach or another Angie,
Yeah.
they're there. They would have to take programs like community social worker program, or what BC has is called disability skills coach program. These people are accredited, and it is government funded. You know, these
Super
workers
cool.
are there because people need
The only,
them.
the only thing that really bothers me is I think they should up the money for
They
game.
should.
They should double it up anyway.
Or at least give them another 100 or two, you know.
At least.
I mean, I go to different different parts of the provinces. In all the smaller towns, you can still rent a 2-bedroom for 600.
Oh wow.
So
Like
it's
Crow's
enough
Nest
to live
Path?
on. More West Coast.
Yeah, I'll leave the machine, John. Thanks.
I look more towards the West Coast because I want to retire up there, right? Interior doesn't have much for disability assets, but southern part of Vancouver Island does. And I've done a lot of research since I left Peak on this. I could tell everyone where the best places to go for if they want to retire somewhere and have the best services. Right now, Alberta, avoid.
How do you go past tip, John? Just because I don't have a lot of money right now. Sorry, I just don't have a lot of cash.
And then just take it and sit. You need your coffee, ma'am?
But we'll be back. We'll be back on Wednesday.
Okay. I'm open Wednesday.
Okay.
Here you go.
You need your coffee?
That's good.
Good. You have a
So-
good day.
Thank you very much, John.
The way I look at it is, even though we can do as much as anybody for the most part, how would you feel about having a worker similar to what Peak used to offer, or still probably does offer,
Yeah.
for the rest of your life? Knowing that as you age and as things change health-wise, how would you feel if you had someone helping you in areas that you couldn't do? What would that mean?
Would be there's trouble.
How would that be trouble if you had a worker throughout your whole entire life?
Oh, well, I mean, it'd be okay.
It would be okay, wouldn't it enhance certain areas?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know, like, you can't bank. You couldn't rub 2 nickels together, neither could I.
Yeah.
Do you think I would need a worker to help me with that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that the worker would be like it to, say, someone in a wheelchair can't move or walk, and that wheelchair is the only thing that keeps them going around, and the
Right.
worker for us is the one thing that allows us to afford life because
Yeah.
of our impulse issues?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, having a worker in my life for the rest of my life would be the one thing that would keep me sane, knowing that maybe when I reach 65, when age is done, and I don't qualify even now,
Yeah.
that maybe that worker could help me with the finances, given the limited amount of income that I would most likely have off my husband's pension.
And you know what you can do? You can get an RDSP.
I've already got one.
Oh, you do? Okay, good, good. Now, can I ask you a question? You might know about this. NBA, National.
I don't
Bus-
do sports.
No. It's a different NBA. It's one that you can get like $30,000.
Don't dive down my rabbit hole, dude.
No. Yeah, have you heard about it?
I've heard. Don't do it.
Okay.
No. The reason why I say I wanted to work for the rest of my life is because of certain avenues that I can't do. If someone dies in my life that I depend on
Yeah.
to help me with certain avenues, like my banking or saving for money or whatever, the worker would be there to take over certain areas that I can't. Right?
Yeah.
At 65,
Great.
how do I pay my rent if I've spent it on a TV that I wanted
Right.
because of an impulse, stupid moment?
Yeah.
Think about it. When your age runs out, you won't have much to live on.
No, I know that's the problem.
That worker would be there as a safety net for you. You don't lose your autonomy.
Yeah.
You just gain ability. Because the one part of your brain that doesn't work is like the legs for that person who's in a chair. Your worker becomes your legs. Your ability to walk again equals that of a worker for us.
Yeah.
My legs were ripped out from me a long time ago. One, because I was married. B, because I chose to move to a bigger center hoping for a better life. But for you, you have to keep them, please, because as you get older, your life is going to change. Health, everything. I don't want to scare you, but these workers are imperative for someone like you. And you need to know this. Even though they may not offer as much support as you need, it's anything is better than nothing. Keep your PDD. Don't become me. Please. Because I have nobody. I have my husband. If he dies or gets sick,
You'll be able to get it.
pass my wisdom on to others that are on PDD. Please. This is why I'm speaking out. Because there's many of those that have autism in Alberta, all over the map. They have nobody. If their natural supports, their parents, their friends, their family all die. And they're my age. And they're just like you. They can't bank. They have very little social skills, so asking for help is 10 times harder than average.
Yeah.
They don't have what we had or what I had. They don't have what you have. You have it good. Peak, even though that I was a stupid young kid, was the best thing that ever happened to me. That's why I'm fully taught today.
I'm so sorry about that. Can we just remove it on your
I'm handing you a word. Don't give up.
also on
I had no choice but to give mine up because they kept on handing me the wrong service. Don't move away from me for so long as it's here. Do whatever you can to help them get back on. Even if you have to volunteer your fucking ass, do it. Because these guys are going through shit right now.
Oh, I know.
If there were more peaks in this world, there'd be a lot more people getting their help because this person's dead. And try your best to make sure that you keep your. This is something that you need to know that's happening in Edmonton. The bigger centers are evil towards people like us.
Yeah.
It may not be the best place for you, dealing with having no job, but at least you have age, you have PDD, you have remain companion, many of us don't. We're shoved to the wind. It hurts, doesn't it? You have a really good life here.
You don't have to do very much.
But the second that peak goes, you turn to me and ask for advice. But also speak out, because the changes that are happening at peak, I don't know. And every story for every town is different.
Yeah.
I need people that are willing to stand up and say, "Hello, this is what I see, this is what I know, and this is how it affects me."
Great.
So in Edmonton, I know of a couple right now that had $300 off their PF being taken off within the first month of the cut. I know of another couple that lost another $300 off their AISH as a free transportation. The one thing that allowed them to get a bus pass, and as well as any medical needs, and as well as food. A friend right now basically begging at a food bank for another dish of food when the food bank says you can only come to us once.
Not good.
Are you starting to see the reality of Hummingbird now?
Yeah.
What does it mean to you?
Yeah. You gotta just stick with what you got and do the best you can.
There's more to it. We're also a community.
Community, yeah.
What does community
Yeah.
mean?
Stick together as a group.
So if you have something extra, what are you going to do to the neighborhoods? Nothing.
Give them something.
Share your resources.
Okay.
Help them. Speak up. Find those stories that aren't being said. Film them. Talk to them. Offer up support in the way of being a friend. You're not going to be a counselor ever,
No.
but you can be a friend.
Right.
It also helps with your communication skills and social skills too. See, two for here, like, you know, there's so much we can do for each other that we don't. We're also about showing the average community and government what the disability community is made of. Show you got some bones. Show you don't like what's going on. Say your piece. Stand up for yourself. Don't let others stand up for you. Say, I don't like this. I don't like how you're treating me, whatever. But there's more than just being your own autonomy. It's also setting your boundaries and knowing when you can be your own boss, take over. You know, like, if I can find my own job looking through Kijiji for
Like maybe your own
yard
business.
jobs, that's what I have.
Yeah. With your manager for your
When you're by yourself.
to make good money.
Not too bad. I mean, I also do housekeeping. I do people's homes. Housekeeping. I clean people's houses. I take care of pets. I do yard care. I do whatever it takes to earn a piece of coin.
Yeah.
You could do that too. It's not that hard. Look up on Kijiji, look for cash work, and do someone's lawn mowing. Do something for a senior. Do someone a favor that has disability. There's so much you can offer a community that you don't even realize. At the same time as teaching about disability. See what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah.
you know, there's so much people don't give us credit for. We have to show them.
Yeah.
Our community has gone so quiet that they forgot that we had a voice. I'm about trying to bring that voice out and and teach people how to use their voice and say, I don't like this.
Right.
Don't let it slide. If it bothers you,
Oh, I was gonna say it.
just say, I don't like this. I'm sorry. I don't like the way you're treating me.
Yeah.
Set your boundaries. Know your rules. You're old enough.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't like this. It's part of communication. Everyone has it. Right? You want your license?
Go get it.
I haven't, like,
It's not impossible.
It's not impossible. Just people think it's impossible.
Yeah.
You know, have a little bit of faith in yourself and just start standing your ground. Say, I don't like something. If you don't like it, don't let it slide.
Yeah.
Be your own man. I mean, a part of having your freedom also means being able to stand your ground and say that you hate something. Knowing that what is happening around Alberta, pay attention to it. Because what affects one person in one town can easily affect you.
but I mean, I can't change any.
Now that you know what's affecting others in Edmonton, especially an old Peak member, kind of puts you in a different spot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I,
I know if I was in your shoes and someone told me, stay at Peak and don't fantasize about going elsewhere, Peak was my safety net.
she told me, and she didn't.
Don't make my mistake.
I think,
Not that I regret moving, I regret not
you know,
realizing that there was no help for me in Memphis. I found the best husband.
Yeah.
I do have a sort of support system on an emotional level. I just don't have the workers. Right now, I don't need the workers as much as I would say if I was single in your shoes. But if I was alone, I'd be homeless. And just be my friend. Just say, hey, I want to stand up for Tara, and I want to be a part of Hummingbird in a way that most people would have never thought I could be. Use your voice. That's what it's there for.
Do you have a card? Like a business card?
No, it's on Facebook. My card is my voice.
Right.
It's word of mouth. If you look up Tara Carlson on Facebook, you'll find me. I'm friends with Angie. You'll find me in her friends list.
Is it a K or a C?
See, just look me up on Angie's friendship. If you're friends with her on Facebook, so am I. You know, I'm also friends with Melody. I'm still in touch with her from time to time.
Yeah.
So just look me up. You know, I run by Tara Carlson. It's pretty easy. You know, I just wanted you to understand that once you leave something that is safe,
Yeah.
you're on your own. And it's scary.
Oh yeah.
You get better at it as time goes on, but what you don't develop, that's what those workers are there for. If you get married to a neurotypical and they start making more money,
And I'm gonna die.
you're kicked off age.
I'm not interested in any woman or anything right now as it sits, you know, but
I'm just letting you know.
yeah.
If you do what I did, my husband probably is on the spectrum, but he's undiagnosed. He works.
Yeah, he's doing
Full-time.
really good.
He's one of the managers at the Royal Albert Museum, to be honest.
Nice.
But because of his wage, I get nothing.
Yeah. You can't even pull stuff for welfare. Why can't
Because
you? should be able to.
because if you have a disability, you become the partner's property, basically. And what happens if the marriage splits? What happens if your husband dies? What happens if he gets sick and you can't take care of him? I can barely take care of myself. Can you imagine me trying to take care of someone? It would suck because I can barely find the help for myself, let alone trying to find help for him.
Right.
Right? That's what I'm scared of.
Oh, thank you.
I'm scared of that.
Yeah.
Know the real world before you jump the gate. The world is not friendly out there now.
I never went on this
They
crap.
don't care.
The only thing I ever wanted.
Most I've ever run was 649.
And I didn't want to scare you. I didn't want to keep you thinking that peak is
I was just shocked when I got
not worth staying.
I always assumed I'm
Yeah.
gonna get mad.
But for now, peak is worth staying.
Berate myself.
And I want you to pass on that message.
I will.
If anybody figures that they want to jump ship for peak, tell them to think again right now.
They sent me an
Especially if they're in a roommate companion.
well, you could wait.
Because that's the one thing
Yeah.
that is keeping you alive right now.
Mine, I guess. And,
As in
yeah,
afloat and able to survive. Because if you jump ship, you could be like a lot of our friends up in Edmonton right now, wondering how you're going to eat, let alone paying rent when you've done an impulse stupid moment and suddenly you got yourself a TV that's $1,500 and your rent's $1,500.
Yeah.
You see what I'm getting at?
Oh yeah, I definitely.
Take that impulse issue and yeah, I'm sorry, but that's just.
Sure, it's not-
Oh, you know?
I am sure I never did have it.
I don't know them. I just wondered if I made them or not.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I totally understand. That's totally me.
Yeah,
Dude, so I gotta be careful.
yeah. You do.
Every step I take, every move I make.
Yeah.
You know, every,
This is why I'm saying that we're a community and we gotta support each other. So if someone thinks about doing a stupid move, because you're an elder and amongst our community just like me,
yeah,
let's teach the youngsters that if you do that stupid move, you're fucked.
yeah,
Don't be so impulsive, think about what you do.
yeah.
I don't really care. I'm not really.
Otherwise you're gonna fuck yourself.
I somebody.
Play it smart, buddy. I got too many friends right now that are one step on the banana peel and the other one out the door. As it was. And they're just like us.
I remember a couple.
There's too many of us that end up homeless because they don't know how to finance properly.
What that feels like.
Because of that impulse issue, because of whatever behavioral issue that we might
But
have.
I don't think I'd like that.
The issue is, if it's your brain, it's not wired properly, or you were born a certain way and it doesn't compute like others, And that issue is what's going to land in trouble. Workers are necessary. Workers are a must. That's your tool to live out there. That's the one thing that keeps you back.
Right.
If you have a program like Peak, you don't want to ever hold on to it, even if it changes slightly. I'd rather slightly and know that I have a worker tomorrow than nobody. That worker is more than just someone to talk to. That worker is the one thing that allows you to be able to do twins. To get a job maybe after COVID setting up, to being able to socialize.
Yeah.
There's more to Peak than just sitting in a restaurant like this.
Meets the eye more than meets the eye.
I remember going with Angie when I was at Peak to places like this, and this was before I was even diagnosed, and I didn't know I was having sensory issues at the time. And the only reason why I can sit here today is because I deal with the noise.
Yeah.
And we went to places like Humpty's, and we know how busy that is.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah, so you can imagine how bad my sensory issues were.
Yeah.
That to me means the difference being able to say my truth and hiding. Right? So, you know, I always say face your monsters, but face your monsters with a friend. That friend happens to be a worker.
Hey, you mind if I go to the washroom?
I could give a shit.
Okay.
But I'm gonna shut this down. Have a nice day. Just wave at the camera.
Oh, thank you. Have a
Catch you on
great
the flip
day.
side. Like,
Thanks for talking.
you know, let's shut this down.